Welcome to the Turtle Club. Hey everybody, this is Eli from the Turtle Club podcast. I am doing the punishment watch because I missed a week of watching Tammy and the T-Rex. For those that decide to start on a bonus episode, we pick one movie every year and we watch it at least once a week for the full year. I missed, I think it was the first week of November. I don't know, one of them. I blame the election. So as my punishment, I have to do a solo commentary on the movie while it's playing. So I'm going to do that now. If you want to watch along, you can. It's on Peacock, Tammy and the T-Rex, from 1994 is the 30th anniversary year for it. I believe it's also on Shudder. I don't know. I have the, not to brag, but I have the 4K Blu-ray as well as a regular Blu-ray that I don't think I've ever opened. But I always watch it on 4K on my PlayStation. So this actually counts for my watch this week. I had to get this in anyway, so it's perfect. And, so I'm gonna hit play. I've got it already up here. I'm gonna do a countdown. So on go. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. Alright, starting. Now that's another thing. Tanny and the Teenage T-Rex. This fucking bullshit where the inconsistent title happens. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm supposed to talk about for this long by myself. I'm sure I will figure it out. The rule is that I'm not allowed to be quiet for more than 5 minutes. So we'll see how that goes. I do have a little bit of assistance. I have wait for it. Oh yeah. I have the Nasty Beast RT. It's the Monster alcoholic tea they do. I have a peach flavored one here. 6% alcohol. And I have a couple of these, so I'm sure you'll hear a couple more cracks throughout the viewing. I have a slightly sore throat, so I might be coughing a little bit. I don't know if I'm actually getting sick. I really hope I'm not, because that would suck and be annoying for New Year's. This is the day after Christmas, by the way. I don't know when I'm going to put this up, but right now while I record it, it is the 26th. I also, just got off work. Literally, 5 minutes ago, I just went right into this. I got up, I took my dog out. His name's Plum. He's the best. I'm sure you've heard him barking before on the show. And then I grabbed my beverages, and now I'm here because I want to get out of the way. Michael claims we got an email about this today, but I looked and it wasn't there, so I don't believe him. I think he just wants me to fucking do this shit. Sociology, man. Students advocate safe sex. Sass, look at that. Look at the poster. Coach is paying his bag for losing. How about you go star in Fast and Furious 2 and then die, huh, buddy? Byron's the best character in this movie, I think. I think he's offensive. I think so. I don't know. I'm a straight white guy. But I do. This seems like it's probably offensive. But I don't know. I've watched this movie so many times at this point that it's really hard to care. It's anything that brings me any sort of joy, and he makes me laugh. He's funny. His name, the actor is Theo Forsett or something. I don't know. He's the best part of this movie. Denise Richards and Paul Walker honestly aren't that great. Paul Walker's barely in this. I do like when he gets his brain surgery. Dr. Walkenstein is pretty cool. That's played by Terry Kaiser. But I don't know. This is the most I've really like. When you watch a movie this many times, um, it really starts to weigh on you. It's just like I don't when this movie like I don't watch it anymore. It just happens at me. Like I put it on and I just sort of zone out for an hour and 20 minutes or whatever it is. Oh, there's George Pilgrim himself. He plays Billy. Billy, the character Billy, not the actor. The character Billy probably um, went to jail for tax evasion at one point. Probably the character. I sometime between now and when he gets squished by the dinosaur. No, not spoiler alert, I guess. I like how he does the people's elbow on Michael. The testicle grabbing thing is a choice. I will give them that. It doesn't even make sense though. He's like, I'm weird to cook. Oh, Byron's into it. Byron really likes it when they grab each other's balls. Because you see, the idea is that he is a gay man, and that's what makes him into it. That's what makes him into like squeezing testicle torture. He's into some CBT, cock and ball torture. Oh God, how far? I'm literally like 6 minutes in this movie, and I'm already talking about cock and ball torture. This is not a good sign for this commentary. I don't even know. I really don't know if Dave, Allen, or Michael will listen to this. Especially not Allen. We haven't spoken to him in a while. Hopefully, everything there is okay. He we haven't spoken to him in a minute, but Dave and Michael, I really don't know if they'll listen to this. I really like. I'm sure they'll. Maybe Dave will. Dave, if you're listening to this, send me a text. Text me what up. And Michael, if you're listening to this, you text me too. But I'm pretty sure you're not listening to this. This is Alan would have listened. I God, dramatic orchestral music. I'm watching it with subtitles. There's the dinosaur. Do the dinosaur. I do have a sore throat. They say that drinking hard teas is good for your throat. I've heard that. The You can't deny that fact. That's just science. Let me see it move. Fuck off. Oh, I just got a Steam notification that my cousin is playing Marvel Rivals. What's he do? What's he doing? What's he up to? Playing some Marvel Rivals? Jacking it to Squirrel Girl and Jeff? I don't know. Show me its power. I'll show you power, you old hack. I'm just gonna start quoting things back at the movie to fill time. I don't even really know what to talk about. I don't think he likes you. I, I don't. So you can tell this movie didn't really have time to write specific dialogue or do retakes or any of that. They had like 3 months or 3 weeks. I don't fucking care what Alan said. This shit is like impressive that they were able to throw this together. Like the amount of logistics that has to go into making a movie, that's fucking nuts. And they were given like, hey, you're gonna have this dinosaur for the next month. Here's $1 million. Make a movie with it. And then to do that, and then also there was like a forest fire happening at the time. Like a very big fire was happening around the filming area. You can see it later in, and it just makes it like I'm impressed that they made this movie. I've tried to like film things myself, and it's not easy to organize people, to get people together. Like I know that like Stuart Raffle is like kind of a he was a director at this point. He probably had some connections, but still like that's still crazy. I don't think I could do that. Or at least if I did, the movie I would make would be worse than this. Well, at least it would look worse. I'd like to think that the script would be better, but I don't know. Especially if I had to write a full ass like film script for $1 million budget and like I don't like what do they do like 3 or 4 days, like that'd be hard. I want you to come over. Fuck off, Tanny or Tammy or whatever. Yes. Before this, so between Mac and Me, his big one, um, and this movie is like there's two movies between Mannequin on the Move and Lost in Africa, and both have very low reviews, if you can believe it. I'm actually curious which of these movies of his has the highest reviews. Let's see. So, this movie on IMDb, I'm going by IMDb user reviews, so keep that in mind. Take all this with a grain of salt. Tammy the T-Rex has a 5.3. Let's see if we can beat that. Okay. He has a movie from 2001 called A Month of Sundays with a 6.2. Can we beat a 6.2? I doubt we will. Wait. I apologize, Mr. Raffle. I was not familiar with your game. Your second movie, When the North Wind Blows, from 1974, has a 6.7. What is this about? Let's read it. Oh, that's a long synopsis. Fuck. It's about an old trapper's having a harder and harder time getting by because of the dwindling wildlife in the region. One day he's on a tiger hunt. Man, he likes tigers. You know, I think we learned that he was somehow related to the guy who made the movie Roar. The dude who like kept like hundreds of like lions and tigers in his house with Tippi Hedren or something. But okay, came back because of the dwindling. One day he's on a tiger hunt when a big cat attacks his friend's son. No, not his friend's son. He tries to shoot the tiger but accidentally kills the boy instead. Jeez. Thinking he's accused of murder, he flees civilization and eventually adapts to life among the same tigers. Boris knows that his son's death was an accident and tries to find him and tell him he's innocent and should come back to the village. And the year that follows, he survives the harsh Siberian winter and finds himself at home beyond civilized life, to the point where when Boris finally does find him, it is a very touching goodbye since the two friends have drifted apart and have to remain in their separate worlds. Okay. I mean, I'm kind of interested. That, like, it's got decent reviews. Oh, this is interesting. One of the other alternate titles for it is Snow Tiger. And the main guy is Henry Brandon. What else is Henry Brandon? I'm just going in a fucking IMDb rabbit hole here. Oh, he was in The Searchers. The John Ford thing. Assault on Precinct 13. Damn, okay. Henry Brandon was in some good stuff, actually. The Ten Commandments. Nice. Nice. Good for Henry Brandon. I've been saying this for years, that Henry Brandon... he died in 1990. No, Henry Brandon. I didn't know. I didn't even know he was sick. God damn it. It's fucking... So Michael, the main character in this, not Michael, the host. The dad sucks, dude. He's the worst. He just lets Billy in. He didn't even, like, get anything out of this. He didn't even, like, get to have sex like she wanted him to. He gets interrupted, and then his brain gets removed by Walkenstein because he gets attacked by a fucking tiger or whatever. Or a lion. You could go back to jail. Okay, so he was in jail, and that's where is the tax evasion. I forgot the detail. They even mentioned that outside the school as well, because the backstory is that she moved on while he was in jail. I think that's what it was. It's a gang. Yeah, gang. This is actually kind of horrifying. I'm supposed to be talking. How fucking... we're 16 minutes into this fucking movie, and I hate it. I don't like it. I literally, like, don't want to experience this. I just get... I can't talk about it too hard. I just get, like, worked up. I want to say that I did like this movie at one point. I really did. This was kind of a favorite of mine, honestly. I really enjoyed how silly and goofy it is. I liked how nonsensical a lot of the plot was, but I don't know. If you experience any movie this many times, it's just gonna get tiring. Especially because, like, I don't know. I'm not into it like that. Like, I've hyper-fixated on movies before. When I was, like, a little kid, I watched, like, Toy Story, like, every day for, like, 2 years. Same with, like, Lion King. I had phases. And even as an adult, there are movies that I will rewatch a lot. Sort of like a comfort movie thing. But this was never that. So I never had a desire to watch it like this. And now, I mistakenly thought, and I think Michael also agreed, is that, like, if we picked a movie that we like, but is silly, it might be easier. There's a lot of silly stuff to talk about, but honestly, it just... like, at a point, you really just don't have anything else to say other than that. There's not a lot of, like, depth to it. Like, at least with Master of Disguise, the first season, like, we did that movie, there was, like, lore to it. there's like things to talk about. At least we can like make up shit just because of the weird like universe that it creates. Because as much as you could say about Master of Disguise, and you could say a lot of bad because it's a fucking bad movie. I will give it credit for its world building, even if it's not always like doesn't make a lot of sense all the time. At least it attempts to build like a history, and there's a lot of moving parts to it. And then like the movie itself seems like the least like the plot of the movie, the events of Master Disguise are less interesting than everything else that happens to the Disguisey family in their history. Like they were like presidents, they were kings, they were monarchs, like it just like they are important people in history, and we just have to focus on stupid ass idiot Pistachio Disguisey. And like I guess that's the point because it's like funny to do that, but it the plot kind of sucks. He's just kind of saving his dad. His dad honestly is cooler than he is. I want a prequel story about Fabrizio. Whoa, big cat. Paul Walker. No, Paul Walker, run! I uh, because it's the 26th, so Christmas just happened. And like so 26th was on a Wednesday, 25th was on a Wednesday, Christmas was on a Wednesday. Um, the weekend before, both sides of my grandparents' family. So like they're both my dad's side, but one was my grandma's side, one was my grandpa's side. They each have parties every year, and I see these people once a year max. I really like it was always just around this time, and I just don't like. I'm just not interested. Like I'm not on the same. They're not my type of people really, and it's fine. Whatever. They all seem cool enough. Well, not cool, but nice, I guess. Um, they're very interesting folks. I I don't want to get super personal about it, but it's just not a fun time. And it's like I have like 2 days off, like the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, and I have to spend each of them like getting dressed up and going to different fucking parties with these fucking people I don't really want to see that hard. It's lame. I I'm very, you know what I like? I'm so excited for this weekend, the weekend between Christmas and New Year's, because there's no expectations. I am so excited to sit on the couch and play a video game or watch a ton of movies. I That would be wonderful. That would be great. I would. I started Witcher 3 again kind of recently, and I just really haven't had time to fucking do anything about that because of stupid ass Christmas. And I like the Christmas vibe. Me and my wife, we made a Christmas playlist with only the songs that we like, only the cool ones, and some fun ones that you don't normally hear. And I like listening to that. I like I love giving gifts. I think I'm very good at it. Um, my family does like a gift exchange every year. Like, and I got my mom, and well, like my direct family does the gift exchange, and I got my mother this year, and I'm so excited. I am uh like taking her on like a mom son date of some sorts. Like I'm taking her out because I figure that like quality time with her oldest son is something that she would very much appreciate, and she did. Let me tell you. I also I wanted to give her something in a box. She still doesn't know what we're doing. I'm taking her to see Fiddler on the Roof. There's a play that's coming to our city in the next couple months, and because she really likes musicals, and I've never seen it, and I don't know if she has, probably, but I know she'd love that I thought of it. And then I'm gonna take her out to dinner beforehand and everything. But so I got this very fancy craft paper um, from. I got this very fancy craft paper from some craft store locally, and it's all purple with like gold like leaf on the outside. It's very fancy, and I got the glue stick out, and I got white paint marker out, and I wrote like mom plus son date, and then like the actual like date of the date, and then I like got glitter out and made it look pretty, and I put it in a very fancy box, um, and she loved it. She was so excited. I told her she's gonna have to dress up for it, and she loves that. She loves like putting on fancy clothes, so she's excited about it. I'm pretty stoked. I think I really nailed it. She still has no idea what we're doing. I just told her we're going out. I gave her the date, and I told her she has to dress up, and she is so excited. But then, like by total coincidence, like absolutely just random happenstance, that yesterday evening we were watching some home videos, and they were talking like my grandmother on my mom's side used to do plays, like she was the community theater director. She talked about how she met like it was a home video of like my parents' wedding, and my mom was like, "Oh, I met him when we were doing Fiddler on the Roof together." I'm like, I'm like, what? But so I found out that she's been in the play, at least on some level, um, which is very funny. And then I had a very hard time not ruining it in that moment. But but that's gonna be fun. And also for my wife, I got her this really cool, pretty expensive, to be honest, slushy machine, like at home slushy machine. Her and I usually set like a budget, and this year I went over the budget. I hope she doesn't know that because she would feel bad maybe, but I got her this dope ass slushy machine with like, and I also got her syrups for different flavors and stuff, and uh, she was very excited about that. So that's pretty awesome. I felt good. I felt like I got that down. Um, but either way, I like giving gifts with thought behind them. I remember uh, to congratulate Alan on a piece, a thing that happened in his life. I don't remember what we've talked about on here and what he wants us to talk about, but a good thing happened to his life, and I found this really awesome. It was like a framed piece of artwork for the 1992 Royal Rumble video game from like a WWF, like back when it was the Federation. Um, and I sent that to him through, and I found it on eBay, and I was like jealous almost. I'm like, damn, this is a great fucking gift. I wish I was buying this for myself. And I know that he keeps it in his cubicle now, which I was stoked about. I was very happy to find that gift. I felt that that was a good one. You know, since Michael's not gonna listen to this shit, I could talk about whatever I want, really. So I'm gonna talk about wrestling to fill some time. I I don't know. I'm still on Twitter for now. I like it's getting worse. I feel like every time I'm on there I see some awfully terrible bullshit. I just don't like it. Like the amount of like racism I still see just sucks. Like it's just and it's getting worse. So I'm probably going to be off of there in a little bit. I I created a Blue Sky account, but I don't know. I've been on Twitter for like 15 years. I think over that actually. I think I had my like 17-year Twitter anniversary. I think it tells you. Um, and it but I'm so used to it. It's hard to switch over. Eventually, I probably will. But I get a lot of I'm on like wrestling Twitter pretty heavy, and I see some like really dumb takes. I feel like wrestling fans are just like they just like say the dumbest shit. I don't. Everyone enjoys it on like a different level. A lot of people really like the actual wrestling, like the in ring like performance, and some people don't really give a fuck about that at all, and they just like the cinematic storytelling stuff. I feel like I'm a combo of both. I like both things. I like it when a match can be very entertaining and fun, but I also love some fun story context to it. Like like genuinely I went to the Royal Rumble earlier this year, almost last year at this point. I went to in Tampa, and I had a fantastic time. It was so fun. It was a really good show. The women's Rumble is better than the men's. Like at least it was for 2024, and that was like a really cool surprise. I feel like the women's matches, at least in the gimmick, like pay per views or PLEs they call it now, have been better. I feel like the women's elimination chamber was better. I feel like the women's Rumble, women's Money in the Bank, I thought all of that was better than the men's. But then War Games kind of ruined that trend because I feel like the women's War Games match at Survivor Series was good. Once it got going, it was really fun. Obviously, Io Sky is awesome. Like, I loved Rhea's mask, that kind of stuff. But the men's match, I think, was better this year. The drama between CM Punk and Roman Reigns was a lot of fun. Bronson Reed doing his like tsunami from the top of the cage rocked. I hear he apparently he like broke his ankle or both ankles doing that, and it's like, well, yeah, buddy, like that's what's gonna happen when you're like 350 pounds or whatever, and you jump from like a 10-foot cage through a table. It's just fucking like it's not gonna end well for you. But it sucks that it hurt him because Bronson Reed is cool, but also, damn, what a cool spot! Like, what an awesome moment. I was really glad to see that shit. Um, but I don't even know what I was saying. I'm rambling. I'm just trying to fill space here. But I went to the Rumble last year. And it was like a ton of fun. I went with my brother and a couple of his friends, and my brother and his friends, they don't know anything about wrestling, and I don't know. I like as someone who really enjoys wrestling and is like really into WWE specifically. I wish I could watch more AEW. I really would like to, but I just like I don't have it available to me. He's in the movie. He's giving like Michael like corpse a boner by playing with his brain. Nice. I would like to watch more AEW. It seems like it's a really good show, but I just don't have it available to me. Like I don't like it doesn't. I like WWE because it's on Peacock. I can watch every pay per view on Peacock, and like most of the like the Smackdowns and Raws, I could just watch on Hulu. I just don't have any way to watch AEW content. Apparently, it might be coming to HBO or Max or whatever it is, but right now, I really like WWE. I try to watch every pay per view. I don't watch week to week usually. I try to, especially if it's like before or after like a pay per view, but I just have a hard time keeping up with all. It's so much content, but I like watching the pay per views, and so they like I try not to be that fan who's like annoying about it. Because I understand that it is silly. I understand it's ridiculous. I like everyone. Like I've met a few people who are like, oh, you know that's fake, right? I'm like, well, yeah. Like I know it's fake. Like every adult wrestling fan knows it's fake. But like, it's like a soap opera. It's drama. It's theater. It's like it's very athletic theater. And it's fun. I like the storytelling of wrestling. I like the performative aspect of it. Like that's what's fun. Um, but I also 100% understand when someone's not into it. Like I just like if you're not into wrestling, that's I totally understand that. I'm not gonna force it onto you. But also, if you dislike it for dumb reasons, like oh, no one realizes it's fake. I'm like, yes, they do. Everyone but little kids like knows that it's fake. Like that's the that's the fun of it. Um, but my brother and his friends, we all went to this thing. They live down there in Florida, so does my brother. That's why he went with me, and they knew nothing. And I basically gave them like the briefest like it's how do you prepare someone for a Royal Rumble? It's like impossible. There's like especially like there's a men's and women's match. Each one is going to have 30 different wrestlers and I don't know which ones. I cannot prepare you for everything that might happen. Like there's just no way. So what I did was for the Rumbles, I basically told them that and I explained how they work. And then I told them who the big players were. And I'm like, oh, the men's Rumble, like Cody Rhodes, CM Punk just came back after 10 years, like all the blah, blah, blah. Like that sort of thing, just like the brief thing. And then for like the matches between the Rumbles, I gave them like a brief rundown as well, where it's like, okay, here's the Fatal 4-Way with Roman and Randy and AJ and all that. And LA Knight. And like obviously and I told him straight up like Roman's gonna win that. Like there's just no chance he loses. Then there was like KO and Logan Paul and I explained that. I don't know, it's just like gave them the rundown on how all that works. But and I was worried that they wouldn't have a good time just because it is a lot. Like going to a show is very different than watching it on TV, and it can be very overwhelming. But luckily all of them loved it. They had a fantastic time. And also it didn't help that like there was 4 of us and we bought tickets very last minute, like the week before. And so we weren't able to get seats together just in the same section. So like I could see them like down the row and I was at, there was 5 of us total and 2 of them had to sit separately than like the other 3 of us and that sucked. But it was totally fine because they had a little kid who's sitting next to him who's giving them the lowdown on everyone. Every single wrestling show I've ever been to, there's a little kid nearby who knows everything. And those are the kids you want to listen. Those are the people you want to listen to because they know their shit. But also, a lot of the time, like they still have like a foot in like the fictional reality of it. Like they still totally believe that this is real, and that's what's so fun about it. I love it. Like at that show, like we also had a little kid who was sitting next to us who knew every wrestler. Fucking like I remember so I like for people who don't watch wrestling, there's this faction called Imperium. I don't think they quite exist anymore, but it's just like a group of wrestlers called Imperium. The main guy in Imperium is this huge Austrian, like, fucking, like, awesome guy named Gunther. And he had sort of like a sidekick named Ludwig Kaiser. So, during the Rumble, all the entrance stuff starts playing for Imperium. And I'm like, oh my god, this is Gunther. I'm like, this is it. But this little kid immediately, before anything even comes on screen to let us know this, the little kid goes like, no, that's Ludwig Kaiser. That's Ludwig Kaiser. And I was like, what? How did you know that? Like, are you psychic? Like, and we're up in the nosebleeds, and they haven't put his name anywhere yet. I'm like, damn, this kid is like astute. And he was absolutely right. It was Ludwig Kaiser. It wasn't Gunther. But like, I don't know, those kids are fun. But my brother and his friends ended up having a fantastic time, and they basically said, like, anytime they're coming to Florida again, like, we should go. That would be so fun. I don't know if that's going to happen, just because because it was so last minute, it was kind of a pricey trip. We still had a great time. But like the point is that like I don't know, going to one of those live shows is like a ton of fun. Even Michael, who gets like annoyed about how much like Alan and I talk about it, he went to SummerSlam with me in Detroit like in 2023, which honestly wasn't even that good of a show. Like SummerSlam 2023, honestly, like looking back on it, not that great. Like it wasn't a super like obviously it's like better than almost anything Vince McMahon would ever book, but it was just it was fine. But being there live was a ton of fun. And I loved that everyone in our section was super into it and we were having a great time. Um, and the final match between Jay and Jay Uso and Roman kind of sucked ass, but whatever. Um, even Michael had a great time. He said he would go again. We're actually going to a Raw show in like a month. Me, Michael, and our friend Christy, who's been on the podcast before. He's been a guest a couple times. And Dave. Dave was added last minute there. We're all going. And my father, and so 5 of us. We're all going to a Raw show in a few weeks here, and so like obviously Michael must have had fun at SummerSlam, and that's always fun too. Like just bringing people to a wrestling show who aren't into wrestling. Almost every single time they've ended up having a wonderful experience. And I always get a little bit nervous about that because of how like ridiculous it is, but like SummerSlam was in Cleveland this year, and I went with my father and Christy and my sister's fiance. And my sister's fiance, he doesn't know anything about wrestling. He knows nothing. Um, but he had a very good time. He's a man of few words, so I was a little worried that he was bored or something because they're also like 4 hour long shows. But he keeps telling me about how much of a good time he had, which is awesome. I was so excited. It's not like they're gonna become like regular watchers or anything like that. But he asked me about it. Like just the other day for Christmas, he was there and he was like asking me about like what's going on in wrestling, and he asked me about how like it's coming to Netflix, and he keeps seeing stuff about that. And then the Christmas Day football games, Liv Morgan and CM Punk were both there. I'm sure there's some other wrestlers, but that's who I saw. We're on the sidelines, like talking, like promoting the product on Christmas Day. So then immediately, like, it was so funny and kind of surreal that my father pointed at the TV and motioned to me. He's like, "Hey, Liv Morgan's on TV." I was like, that's hilarious that my dad knows who Liv Morgan is. Like, that's so, like, funny to me. I don't know. And it was actually even funnier. It was my dad's idea for us to go to this Raw show in a few weeks. He messaged me on Facebook. He's like, "Can we go to this?" I'm like, "Absolutely, we can go to this. You don't have to ask me twice." I remember I went to the SmackDown before SummerSlam as well. It was just it wasn't as big a group. It was just me and my friend Christy, and we got really good seats. It's sort of like a deal we got with the SummerSlam tickets. We're like, "Hey, you got SummerSlam tickets? You can get SmackDown tickets for cheaper," and that was a fun ass time. I was like, it was so fun. And then like after the TV taping was over, there was a couple dark matches. It was oh, I'm trying to remember what the first one was. It was oh god, I feel bad. Whatever. I'm not gonna remember it. But the second dark match was just like silliness. It was. I actually believe we watched the Judgment Day wrestle together for the last time ever. It was Dom Mysterio, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough against I I think it was I know it was Jey Uso. I think it was LA Knight. Rey Mysterio was in there, and someone else. No, R-Truth. R-Truth was in there, and the Miz. It wasn't LA Knight. It was the Miz. I'm sorry. Those four, and Jey Uso came out, and to his entrance music, it's like, "It's me, Us," like that sort of thing, and the audience went crazy and was so into it. After the song ended, the audience started chanting, "One more time, one more time." So then the music played again, and the whole audience went fucking crazy. And it was, and then after it ended, everyone's like, "Again, again." So then they played the song again, and the whole audience went crazy, and it was very funny because the Judgment Day started like hamming it up and acting like, "Oh, this is stupid, I hate this." And then like the Jay gets on the corner and goes, "You want to do it again?" So the fourth time they played it, Dom gets mad and gets on the mic and cuts it off. He's like, "No more of that." And then of course he gets some heat. Everyone's booing Dom, which is like, he's the best. He's so good. He's the best heel, like one of the best heels like right now. He's incredible. Everyone's booing him, and then they do the match, and it's obviously been shortened. And it's just silliness. It's just like ridiculousness. Everyone gets their little moments in. Rey Mysterio does like a four. He does the 619 against all four people from the Judgment Day, and then they get pinned. And then like I think Jay gets the pin even, and then the song plays again, and its entirety, and the audience goes crazy. And then everyone's chanting again, and then they play it again. So they ended up playing it like a total of like 6 or 7 times. And no one wanted to leave because they wanted him to do the song again. And it was like the dumbest thing. It was so funny. That's what's fun about like the dark shows like that, or just like the live events. It doesn't have to be canon. They don't have to totally stay in character. They could just have fun with it. And they did. It was a ton of fun. But that show, I was also sitting next to this little kid. No judgment, but he was a very chubby child with a mullet, and it was like not a very well kept mullet, but it didn't matter because this kid fucking rocked. He like knew every wrestler, and he was into it, and he was there with his brother and I think his dad. I would assume so. But they had one title belt, and it was the U.S. belt, and they were or the title, sorry, and they were passing it like between the brothers were passing it back and forth, and they were taking turns holding the belt up. And it was so funny and so cute, and like the kid was screaming and was so into it. But it was a good time. I had a very good time that show. And then fucking SummerSlam the next day. So by the end of it, I was exhausted. I was legit like sore. I don't know how you could get sore from like just like watching something in a seat, but I was legit like sore actually, and pretty like winded at the end of it. But and also it didn't help that like the main event of SummerSlam, Cody versus Solo, was like, it was fine. You know, I blame Solo for that. Cody puts on a really good show. He's really good in the ring. Even if some people say his reign has been boring, I think it's been great. I really like his in-ring work, and I think his character work is also very good. I just think he hasn't had a really engaging story until this KO stuff has been happening recently. But then, of course, it was the return of Roman Reigns, which like just makes everything better. Also, this is the most ridiculous part of this movie. He's fucking her and she sees a dinosaur. And he's like, "I'm good, right? I'm good, right?" This is stupid. But, I don't know, but that takes me all the way back to my original point about wrestling. A lot of fans on Twitter, especially, are just so annoying. Like, talking about Cody's like the most boring thing ever. I swear some people aren't even wrestling fans, they're just Roman fans. And, like, I like Roman Reigns. I didn't for a very long time. I actually stopped watching wrestling for a little bit because of Roman. And not specifically because of Roman. It's not his fault. He seems like a really nice dude. He's funny. Him and Seth have a very good friendship that I love. But it's mostly Vince's fault, like in the company trying to push Roman so hard, and he just wasn't working for me. I just wasn't into it. And then I was also mad at WrestleMania 30 with Undertaker losing the streak against Brock. I know some people said it ended up being like worth it because it set Brock up as like the big bad guy of WWE for the next like 8 years or whatever. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Brock Lesnar personally. I'm not in ring. He's fun, but I just don't like the way they booked him always. How he was just like the most dominant, scary guy ever, and it just wasn't. I don't know. It was never very interesting because he never really saw Brock like as like the weaker guy. Even when he lost, it felt like I don't know. Like there was always like some like asterisks next to it. But I was mad about that. I was stoked about Daniel Bryan like winning. Obviously, that was cool. WrestleMania, but I just like somewhere in that year after that, I stopped watching wrestling. WrestleMania 30 was like the last one I watched, like around the time it came out. And it just I wasn't into it. I just like stopped being into the product quite as much. But so I took a break for a long time. But then I think it was WrestleMania. Yeah, it was WrestleMania 38. The Dallas one, where I was like, oh, it's on Peacock. I have Peacock. I'll check that out. So I watched the first night alone, just like at home, and I was just like getting high and drinking and watching it. And I don't know if anyone's super familiar with WrestleMania 38, but it starts with like a tag match where like someone gets injured. I forget who it was, and then it like kind of gets there like Drew McIntyre versus a Happy Corbin, Baron Corbin's thing, was like it was pretty fun. I liked the sword, but genuinely the thing that really hooked me in was Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. That was the match where it made me like remember. I'm like, oh yeah, wrestling fucking rocks. This shit's the coolest fucking shit on the planet Earth. Um, and I really like the match they put on was so good. I'm like, this rocks. And then like the Mysterios versus Logan Paul and the Miz was a lot of fun. I like it was kind of fun and unexpected that the Miz and Logan won, but then like he turns on him. Like that was kind of fun. And I hate Logan Paul so much as a person. I despise him, but he's good in the ring. He's a good heel, and his in-ring stuff is very fun. I will give him that. But the it was like while I was watching it, I was texting my like friends. I'm like, "Hey, does anyone want to come over and watch this night 2 with me?" So a couple people came over, and we watched night 2, and obviously, the big thing that everyone loved was Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. Everyone loved that. That match was so fun. It rocked so hard. The thing that everyone hated was Edge versus AJ Styles, because it was so long, and it just wasn't like that interesting to us. We weren't that into it. We're pretty bored. And then obviously the main event was stupid, but Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee was also so silly and fun. And then fucking like 78-year-old Vince or whatever it is gets in the fucking ring and he beats Pat. Like that's so stupid. And like Stone Cold comes out and it like gives the worst stunner of all time. Well, Vince sells it the worst. That shit was all fun. And then after that you have to watch stupid ass boring Roman versus Brock again. And it just like was so uninteresting. It was just like really lame. But that was the thing that got me hooked back in. I'm like, okay, I'm back into wrestling. Like I like wrestling again. Let's start watching it a lot. So I watched wrestling quite a bit. All the way through like 39. Got really into the Bloodline stuff. I feel like that was the perfect time to come back, honestly. got to see like Sami Zayn like in that whole plot line, and then for 39, 39 was fucking awesome, except it had the bad ending with Cody versus Roman, and then all through like last year was awesome. Um, and then obviously WrestleMania 40 this year with Cody with finally winning over Roman with that Avengers Endgame moment was fucking rad as hell. I don't know. I feel like I stopped watching at a good time and started back up at a good time. And it's nice that Vince is gone. I watched the Vince McMahon like Netflix documentary series with my wife earlier this year, and it was most of it was like stuff I already knew. Like it's a lot of it's like if you're a wrestling fan, you kind of already know a lot of this about Vince. But for my wife especially, she kept going like, "What? Like, oh my god, what? He did this? He did that? People know about this?" I was like, "Yes." Like most of this is public knowledge, and she couldn't stop watching. Like it's a 6 hour like documentary series, and she made us like stay up late to finish it. And I'm like, I've got work in the morning, like we can't stay up super late. Um, and then so we ended up watching the last episode during my lunch break the next day because I work from home. Um, but like she got very into it, and I love that Vince is gone. I know there's still a lot of issues, and there's still people that were loyal to him, and there's a lot of monsters in that company, and that does get like I think forgotten a little bit. But having said all that, they're also they're doing a good product. I feel like I can enjoy the actual product itself while also still knowing like this is a fucked up industry that treats the wrestlers very badly. Um, the Flat Stanley shit is so funny in this movie. It's so stupid. I fucking hate this movie so goddamn much. Um, I'm 55 minutes into this. I feel like I've spent most of this just talking about wrestling. Um, which is fine. I'll keep doing that. And I mean, I already just got most of it out of my system, I guess. But I do like watching it. I love that LA Knight got a title this year. Finally. Finally. Like, when I went to Detroit last year, I it was so funny how everyone in the crowd would not stop going like, yeah, or let me talk to you. Like everybody. It's like, and it's funny when you go to one of these events, especially like a big like pay-per-view like SummerSlam, it's like the entire city gets taken over by wrestling fans. Like they infect every portion of it. Like everywhere is that. And so in Detroit, just walking down the street, you would hear, yeah, and then everybody would go back, like, yeah. And it was the stupidest shit. And then they had LA Knight win, like, the Battle Royal or the Slim Jim Battle Royal or whatever the fuck it was. And that was cool, but it's like, I want this guy to have a title. I really want him to have a title. And I'm so glad I got to witness him at SummerSlam this year, like, get that title off of Logan Paul, of all people, because Logan sucks ass. He's from Cleveland, and it was so funny watching everybody from Cleveland boo Logan Paul because he sucks so hard. Everybody hates him. And, like, LA Knight, like, fucking obviously did a great job. That feud was fun. He stole his car. And, honestly, I do think, a lot of people kind of sleep on Bayley's title reign. I think I think it like ended when it should have, but I think while she had it, it was good. Her stuff at Clash of the Castle was like a ton of fun. Her match with Io Sky is kind of like a sleeper banger. Like not enough people appreciate Io Sky and Bayley. Like they were like the penultimate match at WrestleMania 40, and everyone was looking forward to Cody Roman. Like everybody, that was the huge, big anticipated thing. Going on right before that, that's a hard spot. And I think they fucking killed it. Like I think Io and Bayley like really went all out. I think Io Sky deserves more credit honestly as well. Like both of them like just feel so underappreciated. And I think they went out there and just put on a fucking banger, and it was really good. And then Bailey's reign was good. And Nia Jax is doing okay. Um, she's doing fine. I'm not like a hater, I guess. I like at Bad Blood that like she was trying shit. Like Nia tried to Hurricane Rana, and like it looked bad. It didn't look good. It didn't turn out good. But I like that she did it. I like that she's doing stuff. And then obviously at Bad Blood, I haven't even mentioned it yet. Like Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's feud. Like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, they did so good. Like, genuinely, I have a very hard time picking my favorite match of the year. Like, I really have a hard time. And that's because of Punk and Drew. Like, their Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood this year, first of all, should have main evented. That Rock, like, the whole main event shit with the Bloodline and the Rock coming out, like, didn't really mean much. It should have been Hell in a Cell. Especially, like, now that we are, like, here, and it's almost January, and the Rock hasn't reappeared, it's just, like, totally unnecessary. Like, okay. And I don't know, maybe I'll eat those words, maybe they'll somehow make it necessary, but it's been so long. But that Hell in a Cell fucking rocked. And then obviously, like, I don't know if it's obviously, but my other favorite match would be Cody Roman. Because even before all the overbooking and the craziness and everyone, like appearing and doing their big, like, superhero moment, even before then, Cody and Roman was a banger match. When Roman does, like, the crossroads, and then he's like, that's a terrible move. No one's going to win with that move. Like, that shit's funny. Like, he's gotten way better at his character work. Like, Roman Reigns' improvement over the last, 10 years of wrestling has been awesome to watch. Like, obviously, The Shield was cool. I didn't get to watch, like, all of The Shield because they were still, like, pretty new when I stopped watching. But, like, that was, like, cool stuff. Like, I liked his stuff in The Shield, but then just, like, they were pushing Roman way too hard. I didn't really care. I wasn't watching a whole lot at the time. Like, I stopped watching, like, kind of right before the hardcore push. But everything I saw about it from, like, I still would peek in every now and again. I'd be like, oh, they're still doing Roman? Okay. I'm so glad that Roman finally got cool. Like, the tribal chief shit was so much better than everything he was doing before. Letting him go heel was so fun, but he was like a cool heel. He was like a badass heel. Like, that's like finally they got, like, the pop for Roman that they wanted, and it fucking all it took them was like fucking 10 years. Byron's dad is here in the movie. But cracking open a second one. But I'm so glad Roman's finally, like, dope. But I don't know, I'm just sort of rambling about wrestling shit. But again, I'm not gonna stop. I think me and Michael have had this conversation where if we had to give a TED talk for like an hour, so you had to get on stage and, like, give a lecture on one subject for an hour, what is a subject that you could fill an hour like with? I have a few of them because I hyperfixate on shit. For me, like, wrestling is definitely one of those. You've heard it. I could fill so much, like, all of the wrestling discussion that I've been having is mostly focused on the last, like, 2 years. And just the last 2 years of wrestling I've talked about for like an hour. And I have more to say. I could keep going if I want to, and I'm not going to stop. But another thing I could talk about for like an hour is Metal Gear Solid, all that. Like, I have played almost all of the games. I didn't play like Metal Gear, like Portable Ops or Acid, but I've played all the mainline games. I did play through Metal Gear 1 and 2, the MSX versions, in the MGS3, like, HD version or whatever. I used a guide because they're old. but I did do that one time. I've never replayed them. It's been a few years. But I have played through like Metal Gear Solid 3 specifically. I've beaten that game. I don't want to exaggerate. I really don't want to use hyperbole here. So like actually believe me that I believe this is an accurate number. I think I've beaten that game like up to like 60, 70 times. Like I think, and I think about I think about a third of those was just like the summer that I discovered it, because I have a cousin who would like house sit for us when we went on vacation, and my family, we always like to go on vacation at the very beginning of the summer. I don't know exactly what that is, but my mother always preferred that. So we'd go on vacation, and then I would come home from vacation, and my cousin who was house sitting had brought a ton of games with him, and he would always just leave them behind. like, and it wasn't on purpose. He was just forgetful. He just like wasn't thinking. And I played some really great games that way. I remember he left behind Psychonauts for the PS2. And like I remember I played Eternal Sonata because of him, but he left behind Metal Gear Solid 3. And at that point, I had played through Metal Gear Solid 1. Not all the way, but I had played it because my dad had a PS1 when I was a kid. And he had that, and that was one of the games I technically wasn't allowed to play, but I would sneak it. But I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't get very far, because I didn't understand that I was supposed to be sneaky. But MGS3, when I was like 12 or 13, got left behind at my house, and I played, and I started it up, and at first I'm like, why are they talking so much? Like, god damn it. And then almost stopped me from playing it. Especially that first, like, that radio call you have with the boss is so long at the beginning. But once I reached that bridge scene in MGS3 with all the crazy shit where it's like, hey, this guy is bees. This guy is scary. Look, there's a ghost. He's got electric powers. All that shit, I was hooked. I was like, what the fuck is this? I love this so much. So I played it to its entirety. I beat the game. It made me cry like a fucking infant. I like the ending of MGS3, like, made me bawl. I was like, no, they did the bad thing to the boss. Like, no spoilers, but it's very good. So then I immediately was like, let's play through it again. So I played through the game again, and basically that entire summer, like, actually, like, I spent like 3 months playing through MGS3 on like an almost daily basis. Like, I think I could have beaten it all in one day if I wanted to. I definitely could have, and I did a couple times, but usually I would also do other things throughout the day. But I played the fuck out of Metal Gear Solid 3, and that was like my summer. And it was even funnier because we had a TV set up in the garage, and I would like, because I didn't want the sunlight to get on the TV, I would keep the garage door at like half open. So all the neighbor kids would just like kind of come over and see the door was half open and just peek in and hang with us. And we had like a couch, and we would sit there and just like, they would watch me play through Metal Gear Solid 3. And I beat that game like 20, 30 times just that summer. And then like throughout my life, I've gone back to it quite a few times. My most recent playthrough of it, unfortunately, was like 2 years ago. I have the HD, like the definitive collection or whatever they call it now, so I should play through it. But I played through it with my wife the most recent time, and I think she liked it. She humored me. Every now and again, like, she'll bring up like parts of it that she remembers and liked. Like, she liked the ending. Now I want her to play through MGS 1, 2, and 4 with me, but she doesn't like the old graphics of MGS 1, which is fair. It's old. It's a PlayStation 1 game, but also like, get over it. Come on. Play through the Solid Snake game with me. And she's like, why don't they remake that one? I'm like, well, I know, I would play a remake of it, but also play through the original with me. but she can't play 2 without playing 1. Like, I feel like that's like, I feel like 3, it helps a lot if you've already played through 1 and 2, obviously, but it also can work by itself. It did for me. Um, but it was but I don't know. I really want her to play through with me, and I don't know if I would. I 4 would be a stretch. That's a hard one to get someone into. MGS4 is just a lot. Hideo Kojima just not being censored at all. It's also funny because she is not into like that name. Um, like ever since Death Stranding came out, and she was so bored watching me play it. Like I didn't like make her sit down and watch me, but I had it in the living room going, and she's sitting there watching me play, like just like she would like look up from her laptop or whatever, and she's like, "Are you still just walking?" It's like, yeah, I am still walking, and but which is totally fair. Watching Death Stranding is pretty boring, but playing it is so engaging. I don't know. Like I totally get when people don't like it, but I like love walking around Death Stranding. I love like planning out like my route and like knowing where I can and can't walk and taking some risk and be like, "Ooh, can I get through this one without tripping and falling?" Like I love like working with the community and having like ropes and ladders and shit. I think it's all very cool. I really love Death Stranding. I'm excited for Death Stranding 2, but my wife definitely is not. And every time I bring up Hideo Kojima, she gets like a little bit mad at him. She's like, "That's that guy that made me watch Death Stranding." Oh God, I'm just sitting here yapping. I've got 20 minutes left of this. Ugh. I'm barely even talking about the movie. They're doing the morgue scene right now where they're like, "Yes or no, do you want this dead body?" He doesn't want the lady body. God. I don't want to watch this movie. Chew my rope. Gunter Wackenstein. These are the scenes where it becomes very obvious that there is a fire going on because the sky looks like it. Like, it looks very pretty. Like, if you don't know that that's the context, you're like, "Oh, they got a very pretty sky." But, like, some of these scenes in this chase scene or whatever are just, like, there is a fire happening. Like, they are fucked. They should have left hours ago. "We found the dinosaur, Sheriff." He almost said the F slur. He almost said the homophobic slur about his son. The dinosaur. You know, it's very funny that Michael, I think it was Michael who set the rule that I can't be quiet for more than 5 minutes. I'm not gonna subject you to that, but I wonder if I'm allowed to like end the movie 5 minutes early. if I like, if I just stop talking for 5 minutes and just let it play out, would that be okay? Do I have to talk over it? As far as the hour long like lecture idea goes, I really don't think there's much else I could actually do. Wrestling and Metal Gear, I could easily do an hour on. Like the only reason I'm not going further on Metal Gear is because I don't want to start getting into the plot of it because it's a lot. But I really don't know if there's anything else. Maybe Resident Evil I could go off on a rant about. I'm sure there's something else. I'm sure. I. There's 15 minutes left in the movie, by the way. In case y'all were curious, this fucking punishment. Oh, there's all the fires you can see. You can see how fucked up that looks over there. But this punishment is kind of interesting just because there is content that comes out of it. There's an extra bonus episode, but also I don't know, like who's gonna listen to this? Who's actually gonna watch the movie along with this commentary? Who wants my commentary? I feel like this is more just like, again, it's less about the content. I think it's more just about me being punished. I think that the other hosts, like that they're forcing me to do this. Um, but I also think that Michael's gonna be like annoyed that I spent an hour of this talking about like wrestling and shows I've been to. But also, I don't know what they expect. Like, do they want me to sit here and talk about the movie? Like, we barely talk about the movie on the podcast. Like, it's been a year of this. And also just like it's fun that Michael gets annoyed how much we talk about wrestling sometimes, which is why for next year's podcast for January, the first movies that I'm making them watch are Nacho Libre and The Wrestler. Two very different movies about the same subject matter. Um, and I think I've watched both of them recently. Both great movies. They're really fun. The Wrestler isn't fun. Nacho Libre is fun, but it's a good movie. Like The Wrestler is a depressing, sad bummer of a movie that fucking rocks. Like it is like Mickey Rourke kills that shit. That like hardcore scene he has with the Necro Butcher, by the way, who at that time was in Ring of Honor, was like crazy. Like that shit's like scary, and it's funny to it's like fun to know that like Necro Butcher, like, just does that. He does the deathmatch shit. And he did his own stunts for the movie. The movie. And, I don't know, we're going to discuss it, like, full spoilers for The Wrestler, by the way, if you care, by Darren Aronofsky, but we're going to discuss it. But I like that the ending is left vague if he dies or not, but I definitely think he dies. I think Randy the Ram dies in the ring. I think he has a heart attack and dies, and I think that is like, I think he dies happy. I do. I genuinely think he dies doing what he loves in front of an audience, and I think that is the happiest ending that Randy the Ram's going to get. Because even if he, like, stopped and he, like, ended up with what's-her-face, the stripper lady, I don't think he would ever be truly happy behind the deli counter. He enjoyed it, too. And when he's sitting at the deli counter, he's like, the first time he does it, he's having fun, he's getting along with people, but he very quickly gets tired of it. He quits that shit and is like, no, this ain't for me. I think in a very weird, tragic way, I think the ending of The Wrestler is happy. I don't know. I'm very curious what the other guys will think. I really hope Alan comes back, so he could help in the wrestling part of it, because he's been watching longer than even I have. But even if I have to be the sole wrestling fan on the show, I'll do that. And then Nacho Libre is just fucking funny. Like, it is so ridiculous. You could tell it's from Jared Hess, like, same guy who did Napoleon Dynamite. Like, it is a funny movie. When El Skeletor's being, like, flirted with by the kind of chubby lady, and he's like, how'd you get up here so fast? She's like, secret tunnels. And then he runs away, and she, like, crawls into a tunnel in the wall. It's, like, the most, like, ludicrous, like, nonsensical bullshit. It's funny. Nacho Libre is good. That's great. You know what's even funnier though? Like, in that, when we were watching home videos for Christmas, there's a home video where we're all sitting in my living room with our extended family, and my mom says to me, like, she's like, lie, because she calls me lie. She's like, lie, put on Nacho Libre, because when I was young, my mother loved Nacho Libre so much that she made us watch it on, like, a weekly basis. So basically, like, what I'm doing for this podcast, we did for Nacho Libre. And after a while, I was over it. I really didn't like Nacho Libre for a while because my mother made me watch it so many times. But going back to it after years, that's a funny fucking movie. I'm very curious what the other fellas will say about it. I hope they enjoyed it as much as me. We try not to talk about it outside of the podcast. God, we are so close to the end of this movie. Why is he acting like he can't? I was like, where else could he be? They're all shooting at the dinosaur. I'm just ready for this shit to be over. I've just been like, I'm a little tipsy and I've just been rambling. I smoked a little bit before this. I'm sure you can tell that I'm not all the way with it. I'm also not super enthusiastic about this commentary thing, but I figured it would be good to get this done before we record the finale and January's episodes. So she hooks the brain up to the video camera so he can see her. Why does she keep the lens cap on when she's not home? What is that? Does he just sit there in darkness all day? That cannot be safe. That cannot be safe. To pour the fucking liquor on his brain. So this little like striptease thing, like I don't care for it. I'm not a fan. It also feels so much longer than it is. I think we timed it out and it was like a minute and a half, and I'm like, it feels like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, it is so long. And I think I'm uncomfortable just because, like, I think her character is supposed to be, like, underage. Like, it's creepy. I don't like it. Like, I love, like, 80s horror movies. I love slasher movies so much. But it is always uncomfortable for me when they're like, this girl's 16 and in high school. Look at her titties. I'm not a fan of that. I don't care for it. They should stop like, even if the actress herself is of age, then like just make the character of age. Like, stop doing that. Like, stop it. Like, Slumber Party Massacre, like there's that whole scene in like the locker room. They're all underage. I don't care. I don't like it. I'm gonna screw your brains out, baby. So his brain has a little orgasm. And that's how the movie ends. With a brain having an orgasm. Like, fucking George Pilgrim, huh? Fucking George Pilgrim. That shit's stupid. I don't care for it. I'm gonna sit through the credits for real, because I don't want, like, those fuckers to be like, oh, you didn't sit through the whole thing. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be here, and there's nothing they can do about it. This is who I am now. Deal with it. John Carl Buechler, Melissa Angela Economy. What? Last name Economy? Logan Lebo, Todd Spencer, Kim Horridge, Daryl Silver, Rachel Strauss, Billy Wynn, Kevin Holland, Wes Goodrich, Samantha Torres, Ed Beer. He was Mailboxes, etc. Jolene Detheridge, Terry Kelly, Photochem, so many music done by Jaded Heart. Whoa, Dinosaur World. That's the world we live in, man. Simon Stokes to Dinosaur Man. Take a look around you. Whoa, Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. They were thanked. Oh man, I just got a notification. This is going to date this really specifically as well. I got a notification on my phone. It's like, Squid Game Season 2 is out. All right. The movie's over. I did the thing. I finished it. I did. Thank you, Vinegar Syndrome, for this film. I did the thing. Everyone's happy. No one can say otherwise. I did the punishment. Bye, everybody. Also, you know what? The turtleclub69@gmail.com. If you listen to this, send an email. We like emails. Or at turtleclubpod on Twitter. Come on. Give us some shit or something. Anything. Just, like, anyone, like, prove to me that you actually listen to this. Because there's no way. There's no way anyone is still here. Like, right now I am talking to silence. This is me screaming into the void because no one's going to listen to this whole thing. Goodbye, everybody. Alright, all you turtos and turtettes. That's the show. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.